Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll get to the JRC here in a moment, but first, the disclaimers and the trigger warnings. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you will find pertinent links in the description box. We have Autistic Hoya's massive archive in regards to the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, where we have pretty much the bulk of our material on this channel in regards to the JRC from. We also have Neuroclastic's article, the very same one that the JRC threatened them over with a defamation lawsuit if they didn't remove it from their website. The one where they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Neuroclastic obviously refused, and you can still go on to their website and find the article, so please do so, read it, send it all over your social media. We also got Neuroclastic's GoFundMe linked in there as well, in case the JRC ever does see through with their threat, because unlike them, we don't have weird, shady ways to get unlimited funding. Trigger warnings, folks, when we talk about places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please go ahead and utilize the headphones. Also, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We do use profanity and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised. Now, I know I haven't been live for months, folks, and I really do apologize for that, but I'm just going to say I've been really overloaded lately with information. I've been overloaded in the multiple fronts that has now been opened up against those of us in the disability rights movement, those who are targeting the services for people with mental health issues. We are enduring an all-out assault on every single bit of the few rights that we managed to claw our way into our state rights and federal rights being evaporated and erased right in front of our own eyeballs. We've been scrambling. We're all utilizing our networks. We're working with ARC, People First, NAMI, ASAN. It's the Mo Council on Developmental Disabilities. I've been working with them as well. They got a survey coming out because now there's going to be some, oh God help us all, some changes to the folks out here who are on supplemental security income. That's going to be taking place coming up in August. It has been an absolute madhouse on multiple fronts, hitting all at once. I've been trying to wait until the dust all settles, while in the meantime getting a few mini-series out to get some information out. But I do think sooner or later we're going to have to start open chat again. And since these days I'm well enough to, have a little bit more time on my hands, and it would probably be good for me to, at least once in a while, at least take 30 minutes out to blow steam with you all before diving back into research monkey mode or diving back into put on my political hat and become the doll and go sit right in front of the office doors of representatives in Jefferson City. Yeah, that's in the books too. It always is, granted, but these are going to be more unplanned sporadic visits, at least to appear to be unplanned sporadic visits, as opposed to the ones that are organized every year with their set dates. Anyways, I will either this upcoming week or the week after that go ahead and get you guys on here live with me, especially since now, better computer, it's probably going to be more comfortable to try to do that sitting on my couch with you all. I will let you know as that develops. Also, just when I think I'm done, they pull me back in. There's more idiocy going around, once again, in regards to Medicaid from individuals who have never dealt with the service system, never had a kid inside the service system, and have never worked in the service system, still spouting a whole bunch of nonsense. And unfortunately, a lot of folks are sitting there doing, but they say they'll leave it for those who are most vulnerable, so surely it would be okay. So, I'm going to reopen that mini-series, and it is time to do what I do best. Go over everything to the minutest details in the way only a very angry, obsessed, neurodivergent with an axe to grind can do. Not to mention calling out a few former allies of mine who seem to have lost their balls. So, another subject entirely. We are going to open up that mini-series. We're going to get more specific in regards to what specifically Medicaid covers, not just within the service system, but also medically, in regards to transportation. All the little things that, unless you have had used those funds in the past, you wouldn't even know or think about that we are standing to lose here. So, we're going to be getting into that probably, I would say I will open that back up on Monday. Alright, folks, now we're getting into some more gaslighting. Hopefully, with my grapefruit kind of sugarless soda that I've really weirdly become addicted to, that has magnesium and some adaptogens to help keep me calm as we deal with some more gaslighting. So, let me get back to where we were. The FDA has not contested and cannot contest the severity and lethality of these behaviors. Dear JRC, nobody at any point in time and over the last, going on 40 years now that some have been fighting you, has anyone at any point ever said that the injuries you continue to copy and paste are not deeply concerning? I'm going to say it again for you all. My mom has been in healthcare for over 40 years. I have grown up around hospitals and medical clinics from the time before I could even walk. I have waited in ERs waiting for my mom, or when I got older, my brother, to get off work so that we could go home. Because due to legs issues, I don't drive. That was with them at the time. I am well aware of how deadly these behaviors can be. I'm well aware of what the severity of those behaviors look like on the human person. Okay? Nobody's contesting that. What we are contesting, JRC, is that the answer in regards to stopping in these behaviors should not be to replace those very serious injuries with other serious injuries, such as second and third degree burns, loss of feeling in different places on the skin, the permanent mental health scar that will follow these poor kids till the day that they die, caused by your insanity, incompetence, lack of compassion, or any kind of form of human decency. Okay? All those behaviors and the injuries that come for them are extremely serious. As an autistic, I have engaged in some of it in my younger years, and it comes out now. Granted, great years in between this one and that one, but still happen on occasion. I'm aware how scary they are. I am not choosing of my own free will to engage in them. The answer should not be to replace one form of very serious injuries with another form of severe injuries. Do you all know the complications that can come from second and third degree burns? Do you have any idea in regards to complications into areas where there is nerve damage and feeling has been removed from that part of the human body? I actually know that one well. See, my dad would do volunteer firefighting when we were really young. Real young. Okay? And at one point, he dropped one of those, we're talking 80s here, folks. 80s, like I think it was 89, something like that. He dropped it on his feet and caused nerve damage in both feet. Those 2 feet lost complete filling in them. Okay? When you lose feeling in a body part, there's a lot of complications that can come from that, especially if said area gets hit again, but you can't feel it. But that doesn't mean just because you can't feel it and you don't notice it, that something else can't happen, an infection, what have you. Okay? It's dangerous. Second and third degree burns are dangerous. Jumping at innocent kids out of fucking nowhere when they're 12 years old and you are a full-grown adult, picking a kid up by their shirt collar, walking them back into the wall, and acting in a threatening manner because it's a behavioral rehearsal lesson. So we're going to threaten them with one of their bad behaviors. And if we deliberately trigger them into having one, well, we're going to shock them because it's a bad behavior. If we deliberately trigger them and they don't give in, we got to punish them because they're being disobedient. Are we ever going to be starting to talk about the damage that you cause, JRC? Nobody is arguing with the fact that the behaviors that cause those types of injuries are extremely serious and should be dealt with. What we are saying is, in regards to these behaviors, the idea isn't to replace one serious injury with another. The idea is to find out what is triggering the dangerous behaviors that are causing those injuries in the first place. As long as you leave the root problem inside the human being, and all you do is punish the outside symptoms by means of corporal punishment, you're not accomplishing anything. You're trading one injury for another, one abuser for another. So in actual reality, nothing actually changes. Now, I know you're going to say, but Tiffany, when they do that, then the behaviors stop. But they don't stay stopped, do they? They don't stay stopped. After they're no longer using the device, those behaviors return, because fear is not a permanent solution in dealing with behaviors like this. It only works over a very short period of time. Okay? There's no longevity to it. What it does do is build up a fuck ton of resentment, inner rage, self-loathing, and self-hatred, and hatred towards those who caused them to be there, whether the person did so innocently or not. And guess what? That's your reason, JRC, why once they get off their device, they become worse. That's what happens when you force people to suppress emotions with threats of abuse. Once we get safe, the bill always comes due. But the ones who forced us into it don't have to pay it. We do. It does not make any form of coherent sense to replace a certain injuries like this with other injuries and then try to sell the public on how it makes no coherent sense. You cannot call it progress when all you're doing is trading out one set of serious injuries with another set of serious injuries. This is not improvement. This is not real progress. And how do we know that? Because we already know by the JRC's own records, no less, that you can't just use the device once. And also we know from their own records, no matter how many times over how long a period that device is used on a student, once that device is removed, the troubling behavior comes back. Which means, JRC, there was in actuality no progress made at all. No real change to quality of life other than you made it worse than what it already was previously. You're not changing anything here. Nor is it a great success when, due to your abuse, we will fake being well just long enough to hopefully hold back some further attack from the GED device. I have yet to meet a single neurodivergent that hasn't been abused in some way, shape, or form. All of us learn to mask through that pain and suffering. We learn how to go through absolutely unadulterated nightmare fuel in our lives, and how to hide that behind a smile, hide it behind acting just perfectly the way that they want us to. Me acting happy and showing you what you want does not equal me being actually happy. And the only real people that can really tell the difference are the folks I'm close to. Whether it's besties I met being a part of the call center community, God send help. Mom, brother, parents. The outside world don't even notice it's a mask. Okay? It's that simple. So, let's start it here, JRC, and then we'll go ahead and move along. Nobody's contesting that your usual list of all these injuries are not serious. Nobody's saying that they can't be lethal. What we're saying is your GED device is every single bit as severe and lethal as the injuries that you are listing here. And if you don't believe me and you want to continue to try and tell me that it's safe, I am going to pull out of my head every single thing I have learned about second and third degree burns, the immediate effects, the effects a few years down the road, and the complications that come from such injuries as you get older. You see, I can play this game too. And I promise you, JRC, I'm far fucking better at it. Alright? Just stop. Let me read the next part here. Not only that, but these patients have been able to enjoy many positive collateral benefits of the drop of their SIB or AB. I'm not even going to read it. It's pedantic and it's pathetic. Because all these successes that you continue to say over and over and over and over again do not actually communicate real success, JRC. Real success means that the behavioral issues, through means of right treatment, slow down and become less and less till it gets to about around a baseline. I'm usually sitting right there at a baseline all the time. It takes a lot to send me backwards into some pretty scary self-interest shit. Okay? I know it's going to happen. It just doesn't happen very often anymore. Because the treatment, that approach that we went with, help us all look and dive together and find the triggers that were causing it, and work on those through means of therapy and, yes, when the occasion called for it, proper medication with a constant line of open communication between me, my doctor, and my mother. Okay? Because of that, I'm not perfectly functioning. None of us are. Have you seen us lately? When I tell you the neurotypicals are not okay, turn the TV on sometime, because I'm starting to feel like I'm the normal one, and it just feels wrong. Sorry, folks, I don't have a filter, and when I'm completely unmasked, not pretending to be the doll, I am not people friendly. Just saying. Rude, crude, socially unacceptable. Real progress means I don't feel the need to mask. I don't feel the need to suppress. Progress means I am actually happy and being encouraged to engage in the things that I enjoy without being forced by everyone else into social interactions that people think I would enjoy. I am in full control. I am deeply aware of what my triggers are, what sets them off, the things I can do to minimize, and even better, when I have that 5-minute little window when I know I'm going to melt down and nothing can stop it, I can put myself in one of the back rooms, in an area where there's no furniture or exercise equipment, computers, or my books, until I lose all steam. Okay? That is real progress. I take care of all my own health care. I am the yay or nay in my current treatment program. I handle the bills. I handle the health care of the cats. Oh, one moment, please. Be right back. Yes. I'm sorry, hon. I don't have any cash on me. I don't have cash. You guys have a great day. For those who are new, we do not have an edit button to this channel, and that was just some cute girls raising money for school, but I never have manual cash on me, which sucks. Those looked really good. But back to the topic here. All the things that they're going to list is the same things that they have said over and over. While they continue to ignore every single real challenge that anybody, be it the ARC, be it NOVA, be it NAMI, People First, ASAN, Neuroclastic, MOA, Council for Developmental Disabilities, the International Disability Rights Committee. It's a pretty damn long list. They continue to never answer the question in regards to why nobody who ends up in their school somehow ever has a proper full functional behavioral assessment done beforehand. They never get into detail in regards to their so-called positive-only approach. We are not given timelines. We're not given any details in regards to what is that positive-only program that you're using before you reel them in looking like Hannibal Lecter in front of a judge. You see, we don't know because the JRC doesn't tell us. Do they? We also have no data that can corroborate any of the things that they are listing here as having any real form of longevity for after they get off the device and they are no longer with the school. As a matter of fact, very disturbingly, in my opinion, they fought to bring 3 adults, with the one who had been there the least amount of time, at least 10 years more than they should have been ever inside that school. So why are you going to tell me all this? We're going to read it here. All these successes we're going to read, and yet you fought to have them brought back to you. Kids who should have aged out and into adult services a long damn time ago. Why would you fight tooth and goddamn nail to get them back if what you did worked? Well, that's simple. The JRC's already answered that question for us. The device didn't really change anything at all. Because as soon as they were off the device, and they no longer had to fear their direct care staff in anything other than the usual PTSD mode that those of us who lived through that just fear pretty much all authority, at least on a subconscious level. Yeah. If the GED was so successful, why do you insist to bring these people back and force them back on it? Because it isn't the only way. Because there is no longevity in regards to stopping the behaviors. But it stops it, it makes it less frequent. And when you remove the fear and the abuse, JRC, what happens? The behaviors come back. Okay? Now follow me a little bit more here. So, if you remove the device off the person, because the frequency of their behaviors went down, and they were sufficiently masking enough for your satisfaction, and when you remove the device, all those behaviors come back. Wouldn't it be kind of obvious that, as a matter of fact, the device did not have a successful effect on that kid? Because there's no longevity to it. The GED device is there to punish people. Don't start with your consequenting shit. It's the same thing. It can only punish. The GED device cannot help these kids discover the root cause of these behaviors. The device cannot stop us from the urges to get into those behaviors when we are utterly overwhelmed and completely helpless to do anything to stop what we're knowing is getting ready to happen. Okay? This is what we are. With the good, with the bad, with the ugly. It is what it is. These behaviors will never go away entirely. But if you do things right, you can get to a baseline that will allow you to function and live a whole life out here in this world. It may not be glamorous, but it's sure as hell better than being stuck at JRC from the time you're a tween to being almost middle-aged, some of them over middle-aged. You should not have anyone 56 years old still inside the JRC school, and I will die on that hill. It's supposed to be a residential school program for children. These people that you forced to go back to your school with their Kool-Aid drinking parents' full complicity have no business in that setting. Don't even get me started on that. I'll start preaching again, I swear to God. We're going to go through that list. Please keep in mind what I just told you there. Successful education integration. JRC, please stop smoking crack. Well, that means we got them from the room from themselves into our classrooms. That is not what everybody else thinks inside the service system when you say successful educational integration. You know what the rest of the service system thinks that is? Since I've worked in said field, allow me to clarify. But most people mean within the field successful educational integration. What that generally means is the person who has the disability, right? Who has the IEP, getting integrated into the same classes with their neurotypical peers inside a public school setting. Let me say that again. To everybody else in the service system, what successful educational integration actually means is the person with the developmental disability, like myself several years ago. We come with the IEP and we come with the IDEA. What they mean by it is integrating someone like me into public school with my fellow neurotypical peers. Okay? And having that be like a flawless. You get what I'm saying there, right? That's what it's supposed to mean. The JRC, that's not what they mean when they say it. But they're not going to correct me or you from thinking that it's exactly what I just told you, because it benefits them. The JRC means successful integration means taking them from the side rooms and putting them into the classes with the other neurodivergents. Okay? Successful social integration. Again, I'm going to tell you what that means, and those of us who have actually worked in the field, and what the JRC means by it. Successful social integration would have been me in high school, being a part of senior choir. I was in choir and band geek. Okay? Those were my social interactions. Because my team knew to work with where my interests were, those were the social interactions that they encouraged. Because then I could be among my fellow band geeks and fellow choir geeks. And I could info dump my little head off, and instead of people getting mad at me for it, they start... Well, sometimes it starts really fun conversations, actually. Just saying. I had some really cool band directors. Neither here nor there. It's not what the JRC means, though. What they mean by successful social integration is controlled integration. What I mean by that is anything they go out and do locally, they have that device strapped on them. And the direct care staff, about 3 feet back, that can use that device at any time, that they wear on the backpack, and you can clearly see the wires through the clothing. I need someone to explain to my autistic ass how I'm supposed to be able to have perfect social integration anywhere, where I am essentially walking in a human shock collar. People are naturally curious. Their eyes get caught on things that seem out of the ordinary. It doesn't get more out of the ordinary when you see a person with a backpack on, with wires all over the place, with a person about 2 to 3 feet, 4 feet, I'm not sure, but back, wearing obvious uniform. You get the picture, right? Anybody ever hear kids are cruel? Kids will find fault with you for things that are absolutely invisible to everybody else. You think walking around in a public area where kids of that same age range hang out, it's like a walking billboard. Hey, look, wanna come bully me? Sorry, but I'm not sorry, folks. Kids are little assholes. Especially to those of us who are neurodivergent. The last thing you want to do if you want successful social integration between us and our peers is put a larger target on our back than there already is. And you just essentially, with that device, have provided for them a billboard with neon lights. Okay? But that's successful, right? But they can go to lunch with their parents again. It's no sweat off of my back to mask for 2 to 3 hours. And when the situation calls for it, it's not even really that much of a struggle for me to wear a mask over the entirety of a weekend without breaking. Also, again, I will bring forward having someone 3 feet back with you wearing a visible, essentially human shock collar. It doesn't seem like the type of environment that would foster genuine social integration and interaction. There are D&D nerds, of which I am one, that get more successful social integration being around our fellow nerds and info dumping our little hearts out to each other than in that situation. Okay? Removal of the need for various forms of physical and mechanical restraint. The GED is a physical and mechanical restraint. JRC. Any device that you put on a human being that can send electricity into a specific muscle, forcing it to tense so much that the person you just forced that electricity into cannot move or do anything with that part of the body under their own volition, stops them in their tracks. They lose the function of their arms and their legs. And I'm supposed to believe that that is not a restraint? Just because it comes with a remote control does not mean it is not a physical and mechanical restraint, Karen. Okay? Must be some special Kool-Aid. Jesus. Participation in recreational community and family activities. Again, forced social interaction is actually a horrible thing. And it actually did far worse. It actually made it that much harder for me to develop decent social skills than it ever made it easier. Forced social interaction, where I am expected to act like a neurotypical and obey all these unspoken rules that they know just naturally, and I do not. And yet they'll get mad at you, and when you ask what you're doing wrong, they'll scream at you that you know. If I knew, I wouldn't be asking, Karen. Saying. Again, we can mask happy without actually being happy or enjoying a single second of forced social interaction. It's not that difficult. What's difficult is maintaining that mask up indefinitely. Okay? How about asking us about the activities that we are interested in, that we would choose as a reward for ourselves instead of other people trying to force rewards upon us, or activities that neurotypical kids like, and you're just going to force them on us and expect us to be grateful. Everybody else is having fun. Does it sound like I got a chip on my shoulder? I've got all of them. How much time you guys got today? Successful home visits without injury to self or others. Can I say it again for you people in the back? If during said home visits I'm being forced to wear a human shock collar and to mask every single second I'm there and project the image of myself that they want to see, to try and prevent further abuse upon my person, it's called masking. It's not real, which means in all actuality, it is not successful at all and accomplishes nothing. Okay? The ability to hold a job. Okay, could somebody tell me on what fucking universe even the most open-minded employers on planet Earth are going to have a few questions if someone comes in from that school and gets a job, but that person, while doing that job, has to wear that very visible, very obvious device. I have the direct care staff in there with them during the time to shock them for whatever the JRC decides to make up as an offense that week. Because I'm pretty sure most employers, even if they were sympathetic, would say that they wouldn't take that person on. It is you really want any of us to actually believe that? The ability to travel. Oh my God. Successful transition off of psychotropic medications. Over half the medications you take those kids off of are anti-seizure medications. They are not for behaviors. They're trying to prevent seizures. Or they are medications to be used after seizures to minimize the damage of the really bad ones called grand mals. I am very familiar with this subject, JRC, and the medications that you tried to make everybody else believe had to do with nothing but behavior. You're full of shit. And you are playing with dynamite, removing kids off of anti-seizure medication. You can get somebody killed. And with a kill list of 6 of your students, you really want to fuck around and find out again? How long do you think you can keep continuing to get away with that? Eventually, the straw that's going to break the camel's back is going to take place. That's all I'm saying. Sufficient time for self-inflicted injuries to heal or be surgically corrected. While meanwhile, you're creating new ones with the GED device. So the ones you caused yourself are healing, but here's some new 2nd and 3rd degree burns, but we're going to act that this is somehow an improvement. Y'all need drug testing. Every direct care staff, every teacher, every person who does anything at the JRC sincerely needs to be drug tested. I'm not joking. If any of you all believe any of this wholeheartedly, for the love of God, somebody drug test these people. Increased communication skills and happiness. You see, that is the most batshit insane thing I see them repeating. Nobody is happy being forced on a human shock collar. Nobody is happy with forced social interaction. Nobody is happy being forced into activities and expect to fake being happy about it to be so convincing that it satisfies the direct care staff abusers. That doesn't lead to happiness, Karen. That's your version of happiness. I'd rather go through a medieval treason punishment. Draw and quarter my ass. Hang me. Fuck that. He said it tortures and then it's over. Not forced to do it again and again and again and again. again. JRC, you're either delusional or in actuality, you have no capacity for compassion or empathy, to the point that you are willing, instead of to ever actually directly respond to any of the challenges any of us have made over the last 40 years in any real meaningful way, you just copy and paste and send the same shit out you've been sending out since 1986. I know, I've been through the documents. It's either all about the money or you're a special kind of crazy that would give Jim Jones a run for his. You see, none of that is normal. All the things that you have listed sound like the rantings of a madman. Nobody's happy having the sword of Damocles over their necks forever. Anyone who believes that is actually a thing, rewind and listen to what I just said a second ago. Okay? We're going to go ahead and close out on that one, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do tend to get removed from time to time. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I will see you all here in a minute. Bye-bye, everyone.